College football. College football update with your host, Sean Spencer and Alex Rusmore.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to College Football Update with my guy. You see him, the Mr. 1-0 host of Restoring the Roar, Alex Looseboy. What up, Alex?
Not too much, man. Excited to get my stressful game for the weekend out of the way. To bag and enjoy some good college football. We can roll over UNLV, and then Sunday I can and watch too. It's nice, relaxing weekend.
right. And I know this is a college show, but ladies and gentlemen, we have got to shout it out. The NFL season has started. The Super Bowl champions have taken their first loss of the season. Or the former Super Bowl champ, the reigning champs, took their first loss to the upstart Detroit Lions. And I know my guy could not be happier.
So excited.
Oh yeah. Actually, since it's a college show, I do want to ask one question. One of your rookies, he had a pick six in the daggone game. Brian Branch, is everything okay with that?
It was cramps. He started cramping up. That's all it was. Yeah, I immediately thought the way he started hopping there, I was like, man, he blew out his hamstring.
Yep.
A bunch of his season out the window. And then I started looking right after the game, and the Lions PR team put on Twitter it's okay. He's cramping. We're good. So
yes, I was definitely nervous on that one, man, because I was like, oh no.
I was floored when I saw it. I was just like, no, right. He's had such a good game.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, and I had Kat. She was next to me saying, we're gonna find a way. So I had that in my ear. So I was sitting there like, oh man, are you guys really cursed? This could really be. I was like, what in the world? But oh man, but look, ladies and gentlemen, we are not talking NFL today. We will talk about that soon enough. We are talking college football, because Alex, if week 0 wasn't enough, week 1, did that satisfy you? Did you get your fill in week 1? Because there's a lot to see.
Oh yeah, there were so many big matchups. Obviously we'll get into it in a little bit here, but Colorado TCU was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I was just glad to see some of my guys in the maize and blue back on the field, rocking and rolling. And then, guys we've been hyping up all off season. Obviously we saw Sam Hartman in week 0, but to see those kind of guys out on the field, you guys, I was just about to show you guys out.
Yes.
And then that absolute shocker on Sunday night between Florida State and LSU, as well as Monday night.
Yeah.
Both games. I picked FSU over LSU. I didn't think it was going to be that nasty of a win. Mm-mm. And then I don't think either of us thought. I thought Duke would give them hell for 3 quarters, and then Clemson would take over.
Right.
But, man, Duke controlled that from start to finish, essentially.
Yeah. And they had him. And I don't know what it was. You and I both talked about Cade Klubnik needing him to come in and show out, and we were ready for that era to start. But I'm going to tell you, man, Duke just – they had total control, like you said. They manhandled him. Shout out to Riley Leonard, who ran his butt off in that ball game. But they are playing for Coach Elko, man. And I got to say, shout out to Duke and North Carolina. Are we still basketball schools, ladies and gentlemen? Because these guys are playing, and I love that.
Got real good football programs right now.
Absolutely.
Well, with Clemson, you can start to ask, was DJ really the problem last year? Because Uiagalelei looked real good for Oregon State.
Exactly.
And Clemson, with Garrett Riley now as the OC, fell flat on their face.
Yeah.
So was DJ really the problem?
Right. And so you wonder, and again, they did lose a number of pieces on defense outside of DJ. So, but you still got Shipley, you still got weapons. So that's going to be something that I think we're going to have to monitor this season because we know how good Riley Leonard is. We know what those guys play for Elko, but because if Clemson starts falling like this, then you start saying, is the Dabo Sweeney era, is it over? Because that didn't look like a team that that can get it done this year.
No, I don't like. I'm thinking kind of the same way I feel about Ohio State. I still think they'll get like 9 wins somewhere in there.
Yeah,
but I mean, their shot for, in my opinion, conference championship game and playoffs is gone.
Yep.
By losing that game on Monday. So essentially their season is gone. Everything that they like to play for, Clemson being Clemson for so many years. It's kind of out the window there. As far as the Dabo era done, this is the same thing I was telling Johnny with Miami last night. It's going to be hard to find a better coach than what you currently have.
Yes.
So, and the track record that Dabo has with Clemson, the multiple national championships, the multiple playoff national championship appearances, I think he's done enough to build himself some leeway. And I still personally believe he's the successor to Saban at Alabama.
Yep.
So, and I think Clemson feels that same way. So I think they're going to hold on to him for as long as they can.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the track record speaks for itself. And let's be very honest. Can any of us remember the last coach to coach at Clemson prior to Dabo?
I couldn't tell you.
Nope. He's done that
look up
much.
Who it is because I can't. He's been there that long too.
He's done that much for them, and we talked about it. We talked about it a lot, coaching and who's the GOAT outside of Saban and all that stuff. You want to put some names up there, and Dabo's one of them. He's got the titles. Mm-hmm. He's been consistent. I mean, you had that one stretch where he had Deshaun Watson. Then after that, he had Trevor Lawrence. And before that, he had Taj Boyd. I mean,
who played very well for him too.
Exactly. I mean, we're talking about number of years where he is head and shoulders above and really, emulating what Alabama was doing. One of the first ones. Who was it?
So Dabo's been there since October of 2008. And the head coach before him, fired early in the 2008 season, was Tommy Bowden, who was the head coach from 99 to 2008.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Isn't he a congressman now?
It looks like it.
Wow. So college football did that much to him where he said, all right, let's go into politics. That'll be easier.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. You learn something new every day.
Exactly. Hey, we're here to teach you, ladies and gentlemen. But look, we are here. This is College Football Update. We're talking about college football back, but we got to get into some of these storylines, Alex, because now that college football season is back, you start to really pick up on things that are happening. And I think we'd be lying if we said that there was any bigger story than Deion Sanders taking his son, taking the corner, Travis Hunter, both of his sons, as a matter of fact, the corner, Travis Hunter, getting all those 86 new players over to Colorado, a team that was 1-11 last year. I'm not going to lie. I was one of those ones that was very skeptical. I didn't think that Colorado could. I don't want to say I didn't think they could get it done, but I definitely did not expect to see what I saw. Talk to me about this, Alex, because they looked great.
Yeah. I mean, even I was like, if I had to pick an upset this week, it was Colorado over TCU. Mm-hmm. I didn't think they'd look that good. No. Because it's not like, TCU played nowhere near what they were last year.
Right.
But it's not like TCU played like a bad football team. They still put up 42 points. So that offense was humming. It's just that defense couldn't do anything. Now, Shedeur was the one where he surprised me well beyond expectations.
Yep.
I was like, I feel like he can come in, be like a good starter in college, but not that like top tier guy. And he made NFL throw after NFL throw after NFL throw. He only had 9 incompletions the entire game.
Yeah.
He was 38 of 47 510 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. That might be my brother. Because me and him had a debate the other day. He came for a visit, and we were going back and forth about Colorado. So
they're
going to be a very good football team this year. I had 5 or 6 wins. I'm looking at 7 wins now. I still just don't think they're going to be good enough to take on Oregon on the road. USC at home is one where realistically, if they play like that, they could take them.
Exactly.
Especially with how bad USC's defense is.
Right.
But I'm still leaning SC in that one. Oregon State is a more complete team. So I'm leaning them as well. Going to LA to play UCLA, not big on that. If it was in Boulder, I would take them. But with it being in LA, I'm leaning the Bruins. And then Utah on the road to end the season. I don't think they're at the level where they can take those teams yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's still a good 7-5. And with Deion and the notoriety there and the notoriety of Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, they're going to be in a pretty good bowl game for a 7-5 record. And they're going to compete with pretty much anyone you'll throw at them. Because I think all those losses they're going to have are going to be close losses. I don't think they're going to get blown out a single game this year.
Well, see, that's my thing. I mean, exactly what you just did. I think we have to go back over the schedule and reevaluate it because I didn't expect this. I didn't expect this team to come out where Shedeur threw over 500 yards. You know what I mean? Their running back has 4 touchdowns. You know what I mean? And Travis Hunter, I mean, shout out to look. When they said he was going to play that both ways, I was like, okay, that's cool. Maybe that worked at Jackson State. But again, this is D1 ball. Hey, I was wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to say it right now. I was wrong. That man is a dog. Both ways. 11 receptions on one side, well over 100 yards, had a pick on the other side. But the biggest part about that on defense is I'm looking at the stats and I'm like, I don't see tackles. I don't see anything. But then I look at who was guarding. I don't see receptions. Yeah. He's shutting down that guy. And one of the things that they said he was saying is that when he would come out of the huddle, he said, you take those 10. I got him. I'm wiping him off.
And the fact that he did that while still putting up those numbers he did at receiver.
Come on.
So flipping impressive. And I've been saying to my brother and everyone, pump the brakes, pump the brakes, pump the brakes.
Yep.
But it's hard not to throw him right up at the top of the Heisman conversation right now.
Yeah.
For what he did. Now we got to see how much he consists, because there's no way he's playing 150 snaps a game for 12 games. It's not happening. Nobody's doing that.
Right.
But I mean, I think, and I don't like comparing people to this guy, but Travis reminds me a lot of a Charles Woodson type. With that ability to lock down a guy on the outside, his ability to be that dynamic weapon on the offense. I see shades of Charles Woodson, and I think he could win a Heisman like Charles Woodson did. So, he's a special player. He was the number 1 recruit last year for a reason. And the other thing with Colorado.
Hold on. Say it again. You say something? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, snap.
Oh, I'll keep it going. The other
give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. I mean, the other really impressive thing with
we're gonna play this quick video real quick, and we'll be right back.
We're good? We're good?
I don't know what happened. I do not know what happened. My audio, no, Ben, my hearing has not caught up with me. I'm not 40 yet. All right.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. Yes. We're
Oh.
We're in. So yes, to your point, Travis Hunter balled out. And I love the comparison to Charles Woodson because you want to talk about somebody that you knew he could shut down deep. We know how great he is on one side of the ball. But to have the performance that he had on the offense, I mean, honestly, he's a premier receiver. You get 11 catches against TCU, like you said, they're no slouch. I mean, come on, give this guy some love, man, for real.
Well, I mean, the other really impressive thing with Colorado is just comparing the one game stats to last year. Right. I mean, we already said they were 1-11 last year. They already got the one win. Last year, they only had 2 100 yards receivers the entire season. They had 4 in this past game. Like, it is just the absolute flip of the switch that Deion's done with these guys.
Yeah.
Is so impressive. Now we just need to see it on a regular basis.
Right. Now,
that's just the next show me is can you do it again?
Right. And they have a Nebraska coming up, which we've seen Nebraska struggle late. Weren't they? They were up 10-3 and then gave up 10 points to Minnesota to lose that one. So, then they have their coach Matt Rule who's come in, but obviously, honestly, their only real weapon has been Jeff Sims, the quarterback that transferred from Georgia Tech. So if we see this Colorado come in, that's not even going to be a game. They're going to.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the home opener with Deion, like the hype around this game. Like, I think Boulder's going to be buzzing like it hasn't in decades.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, I expect Colorado to roll in this game because I've been saying it all week. Nebraska made way too many mistakes that Colorado, one, isn't making. They did not make it against a much better TCU team. And 2, every mistake that TCU made, they took full advantage of.
Yep.
And if you're doing that against the national champion runner-ups, even though they don't have Superman wearing 15 for them anymore, but they're a much better team than Nebraska is. So if Nebraska makes these same mistakes, Colorado is going to get up on them and get up early. And this game will be nasty, I think.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And look, and the last little thing on this, we got to remember, there was a couple touchdown passes early that Shador threw to Travis Hunter that Travis Hunter dropped. I can think like 2 early TD passes, and there was one pick not
he
Shador,
just
but
stepped out of bounds. Yeah,
right, where he missed that one. So we could easily be talking about a bigger blowout in this game, but it just happened to be as close as it was, man. And hey, Colorado has things to work on.
Absolutely.
They only had 55 yards on the ground. They didn't have a consistent running game. And like Alex alluded to in the very beginning, they still gave up 42 points.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? To a team that lost all of that talent. You know what I mean? They gave up 100, I think over 160 to one of the guys. They gave up over 260 yards on the ground in total and over 500 total yards. So there is still stuff that you can work on. But if you put up those numbers on offense, they're going to be perfectly fine. And I mean, you look at these numbers, and then I think we got to move on because they put all the guys that are on this that we're about to talk about to shame. I mean, we were talking about, Carson Beck and Jalen Milroe, Drew Aller, and
Kyle McCord.
Kyle McCord, exactly. And you see Shador put up 5'10", and you're like, well, should we be talking about Shador instead of these guys? But what did you think for these guys in their first show, the successor?
For me, I think it's kind of Drew Aller on one side and these other 3 kind of spread across the middle. I mean, Drew Aller to me had a very good game. Over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks in a run-heavy scheme was very impressive. I think, 21 of 29, only 8 incompletions the entire game. Against West Virginia, let's not sugarcoat it. They're not great, but that's still a competitive Div 1 football team.
Right.
And Aller manhandled them.
Yeah.
Penn State manhandled them like they should have. So I mean, I'm as a guy analyzing college football, I was happy to see that. As a Michigan fan, I was not happy to see that because they are rolling early on both sides of the ball. I mean, I'll stay in the Big Ten. I'll hop to Ohio State next. This one made me happy, but the other thing to think about is if you go back the last few years, Ohio State's offense has always started slow. Now, typically, it's not against an Indiana. Like last year, it was Notre Dame they started slow against. It wasn't week 1 2 years ago, but early on, it was Oregon they played. They've been playing some good teams where they've started slow. This one was different. This was, and I think McCord's the worst quarterback they've had under Ryan Day.
Well, look that way.
To be fair, it's kind of not hard to be the worst one. Well, I mean, you've got Justin Fields, who was very good, and CJ Stroud are the two quarterbacks he's had. So, I mean, it's hard to be better than those two.
Right.
They've both been borderline elite, if not elite quarterbacks in college football under Ryan Day. So it was kind of time for them to essentially have growing pains at the quarterback position. He threw the pick. It wasn't a great throw. It was kind of a bad decision. But I unfortunately think they'll turn it around pretty quickly in the next couple weeks. They better, because 2 weeks from tomorrow they're playing Notre Dame in South Bend. So they got to get it together quick.
Who has the defense? I'm more concerned at them playing Indiana and struggling the way that they did. I mean, in Indiana, this isn't, we're talking about somebody on the line with like a Rutgers or something where their coach is on the daggone hot seat, Tom Allen, who, I mean, he's 6-18 in his last 2 years. I think they've won two Big Ten games over the last couple years. This is not somebody you struggle with. And again, the score was what? 23 to 3? Something like that.
Yeah, they won by 20. Yeah, 23-3.
I mean, come on now.
Yeah, that should not have been that close. I mean, it's still a 20-point win. That defense showed up and showed out. They played very well. That defense was rolling early, but again, it's Indiana. That was kind of expected. To me, I mean, Ohio State really just has tune-up games until Notre Dame. So Notre Dame's really going to be the test there. That guy's going to be special there.
Oh yeah.
And then going back to these quarterbacks, I mean, Milroe playing Middle Tennessee State, I wasn't impressed.
Yeah.
I mean, he 13 of 18, so the accuracy was good. 194 yards passing though. You got to be taking deeper shots against those kind of teams.
Right.
We've seen the Alabama quarterbacks the last decade plus under Saban. They aren't afraid to take those shots down the field, rack up 250, 300 passing yards, even in these run-heavy schemes when they're beating on these teams. And he got the 2 rushing touchdowns, but again, 7 carries, 48 yards. So, I mean, the numbers don't really impress me there. I didn't see much of the game. So all I can go off of is the numbers. Didn't really impress me much there. And then Carson Beck, I also didn't watch this game. His numbers were better though. 21 of 31. So again, accuracy is pretty solid there. Almost 300 yards, only the 1 touchdown, but again, they were running the ball fairly well. Defense was controlling the game there. So not too much to kind of go off of there. Again, we need to see these guys against better competition before we can really say anything. But yeah, there's from 3 of them, there's definitely improvement needed. But Penn State, I think they're happy with what they got. Just keep rolling the way you are. And I mean, there's a reason I picked them to be my 4th team in the playoff this year.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I mean, for all the talk that we got about the Kyle McCords and the Jalen Milroe and the Carson Becks, it's just crazy that you see the opponents that they had: UT Martin, Indiana, Middle Tennessee State, and you see the big blowouts, but the performance that they had wasn't. I mean, I'll give Milroe his 5 TDs, yeah, but you're supposed to do that. You have a team full of 5 stars against a team full of 3 stars. That's what you're supposed to do. My coach would have said, yeah, you out-talented them. You didn't outplay them. You out-talented them. You were already better. So that's just what's going to happen. That Ohio State McCord, that does kind of bother me, because another thing, Harrison wasn't even a leading receiver in this ball game. And that
was almost invisible.
Right. And wasn't that supposed to be the deciding factor between him and the other guy, was that he had the relationship with Harrison? I mean,
no, this was the other quarterback.
Oh, that's the other quarterback.
Oh. Yeah, Brown, the backup quarterback. He was the one that was high school teammates with Marvin.
Okay. Well, that's what it looked like, because McCord didn't even. I don't know. I didn't watch this one outside of highlights from it, but it just you expected a lot more from this. And then going with Carson Beck again, they had a run heavy offense, like you were saying, but not even a touchdown. You got Brock Bowers out there, you got a vet and Lad McConkey out there. You know what I'm saying? You got transfers. I feel like what I did not see from Carson Beck, kind of him and McCord kind of makes me second guess. I'll give Milroe the benefit of the doubt, because I think what we might have seen because of his performance is he might be all they have. So yeah, he's putting up those numbers because you can't really throw it to me. I've been listening to some of those videos about, upcoming prospects and things of that nature, and they started saying some names of Alabama wide receivers, but I mean, Milroe's the only guy I'm really remembering on that offense right now. So
yeah,
this to me, I'm like you, with how Penn State and that run game was, to have Aller have the day that he did and to look as good as he did. I think that's something that you can build off of. But hey, every one of these guys is going to need to step the game up, because like you said, you're only a couple weeks removed from the time when they actually have to play some stiff competition with some defensive. So it's going to be interesting. As still quack, always. Absolutely. What is up, Kat, in your 1-0 Michigan State Spartans?
They looked good. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
I thought that game was going to be a lot closer against Central Michigan, and they took control.
Absolutely.
Well, props to them.
Who's the quarterback? Kim? 270 yards, I believe. Not bad. I can dig that. Alex said, if I'm being realistic, I see it going Oregon 40, Texas Tech 35.
You guys are going to blow them out.
Yeah, Texas Tech just lost to Wyoming in double overtime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think you guys
will be fine.
And yeah, wait a minute, Alex. All right, I'll go on board with you talking about how your team's losing, but your team put up 81 points. Don't talk to me about your team going to struggle against Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
What are you sketched out that they don't play defense in that conference either, or what?
Right. They're not going to outpass you guys. I mean, what are we talking about here, man? It's 81 on their effing head, right? I can see you putting up in the 50s. But look, hey, let's move on down the list. We'll talk about coaches on the hot seat. I mean, look, we've seen what some of these coaches can do, but we've seen the fact that some of these coaches, man, we need to pump our brakes. Remember last year we were talking Norvell, FSU. We see how that's turned around. We were talking, unfortunately, Herm Edwards. We saw how they did him out there. We talked a couple names that are on the list this year. Dino Babers of Syracuse. You know what I mean? Started off 6-0, and I was like, okay, he's off the list. Then he ended the season 1-6, and then you still make a bowl game, but at the same time, it's like, dude, what happened where they collapsed that much? You know what I mean? So who are some names that you might have on your on a hot seat?
For me, the biggest name probably on this list is the loser of this weekend's Miami A&M game.
Yep.
It's either going to be Jimbo Fisher or Mario Cristobal. I think I think the loser goes on the hot seat. I don't think either of them lose their job this year.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be one of those ones kind of like Scott Frost last year, where it's a scalding hot seat going into the next season. And if you start off really slow, there's the door. You're gone.
Yep.
And another one that kind of fits into that mold, as much as I hate to say it, is Billy Napier.
Yes, I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As much as I hate to say it, because I'm one of those guys, you get 3 full years, and then you make that decision. But just the way they're looking at some of these schools and some of these situations at high-profile schools, you don't get that amount of time.
No, not in the SEC. You know, I mean, and shoot, Big Ten, I'll give that. They don't get them there either. That's the issue. Like, you know, I'm all about him. I have shouted him out since he came from the University of Louisiana. We've seen, you know, he struggled his first year, was able to get Anthony Richardson that high up in the draft, which is great. But you had an athlete like that. So what can you produce? I was one of those that said, wait till he gets his recruits. Well, he didn't recruit a quarterback that was worthy of starting, so we got Graham Mertz. I thought before watching the game, just like everybody else, here they go. They're not going to do anything because of Mertz. Mertz didn't look bad. At over 300 yards in the air, only 1 touchdown, but he doesn't really have that much help. He has a wide receiver, Parasol. He has Etienne, Travis Etienne's little brother, but it just they didn't look good. I mean, and first let's shout out Utah. Utah has a stout defense. We know that. But Utah also didn't have Cam Rising in that ball game.
Yeah.
So those are the type of games when you have those type of advantages. Napier, you got to get your guys up to win. And if you can't get, I mean, that's a tough team right there. But you know, you got some teams that are lower in the SEC that are kind of moving up. You mess around and lose to a Vanderbilt, who we've seen is undefeated right now and they're playing you in a couple weeks. I'm with you. He might need to be shown the door on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So another name that I want to ask you about that actually just came on board, and I don't necessarily think this guy's in the hot seat, but if he loses this week, I think we might need to be talking about something because they like to win there in Nebraska. Matt Rule, the way that he lost that first game, and then if he loses badly to Colorado, I know they're not going to get him out immediately, but you can't do that in Nebraska. I mean, in the Big Ten, it's only getting harder.
I mean, we also saw how long Scott Frost got.
Yeah.
So he's going to get a year and a half before that seat starts to get warm.
Yeah.
And we got to remember Rules transitioning back to the college game. Obviously, we know it's a whole different style of coaching there, the 365-day coaching with recruiting and all that. He didn't really get his recruits in. Yeah. Just kind of scrounged out the transfer portal and whatever he could that was left in the high school recruits. So we'll see. Let's let him get his full first class in this offseason, and then let's make the judgment on Matt Rule. But that's one where I say let's pump the brakes, put that ice back on the seat, let it cool down, and give him some more time.
Yeah. But hey, you got to get those W's, get those wins. I do want it. Two more guys. I talked about Tom Allen in Indiana, who absolutely has to win. I mean, almost has to win out to keep his job, in my opinion. But another team we talked about, that Penn State game, team that played, West Virginia, Neil Brown. He's one.
That was another guy we talked about last year too.
Exactly. He was able to keep his job. I mean, I've liked this guy. I'm partial to West Virginia because of my fiance and her family. They absolutely love him. But this guy, West Virginia, hasn't had consecutive losing seasons since the late 70s, and they had it last year. You know what I mean? And they had some ugly games. We talked about the game against Texas where Bijan ran all over them. It was 28-0 early on in that game. Right now, he's still there, and I don't necessarily see him going right now. They have a new AD in Ren Baker, that, you know, he's keeping the thought open. But at this point, in order for them to move on from him, it'd be like a $16.7 million buyout. So it's looking like they're going to stay put with him right now. But still, it definitely makes you – it just – you worry about him because he that quarterback he had last year, Doge, was not that great. He's got his a true freshman that was in last year. He's coming in this year, Green. You still come out flat in that first game, albeit a team that we're both picking to be in the Final Four. You still kind of come out flat, and you're struggling in that one. You're gonna have to get a W this coming week, and I believe they play a lesser opponent. I'll check that out, but yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Neil Brown is definitely on that hot seat.
Yeah, he's one where I feel like nothing will happen right now, especially because of that buyout. But it's one where if they have another bad season, I think he could be out the door.
Yep.
Because like you said, they don't have losing seasons that often. And if they get another one here, you're only asking for trouble. And yeah, I mean, I kind of cut them some slack with last week because it was essentially a whiteout game. It was at night, Penn State. It was the unglorified whiteout. It was the whiteout without actually being considered the whiteout. And I mean, like I said, I feel like Penn State's one of the 5 best teams in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna cut West Virginia a little bit of slack on that one, but they better show something soon. That's all I can say with that. Yeah, they host Duquesne this week.
Right. So
tomorrow,
they need to get that W. Listen, what Eric said. They paid him big time, so he can only get hot when the admin can actually do something, e.g. Jimbo Fisher. And oh my goodness, bring back Rich Rod.
I mean, he's doing well at Jacksonville State right now.
Yeah, getting dubs, getting it done. You have anybody else on your hot seat?
Not really. I feel like for the most part, it's a little too early.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was those obvious ones we already talked about, but for most of these guys, we got to kind of wait and see.
Oh yeah. Totally agree with that. Well, those were our college football storylines, and there's going to be a bunch more, just a couple that we picked out, and a lot of reasons because of the college football scoreboard. So we're going to go quickly and recap. I love Alex positivity. That's right. They put up 81, and he still thinks he can't get the W. But let's talk about that. I mean, you had 3 teams that scored over 70 points a week ago.
Yeah.
You know, with Oregon scoring 81, Ole Miss and OU both scoring 73. I mean, those blowouts were amazing if you're on the team that's blowing the other guys out.
Yeah.
For the other ones, I mean, when I turned on the OU game, it was 63-0 or something like that. At like the third quarter, I was like, oh, the third string is in here. Okay.
I'm pretty sure I looked and it was like maybe the end of the first quarter and it was 28-0. I was like, I don't need to check that score anymore. Like that can be one while I'm like scrolling the other scores like, oh, cool. They scored 4 more times. Like,
right.
But that's one I didn't need to pay attention to the rest of the day.
Exactly. What were some of the games that caught your attention this past weekend?
I mean, we already talked about Colorado TCU. That was the main one for me early on. And then obviously I was paying very close attention to your guys' game, the Battle of the Carolinas there, paying close attention to Penn State. And then for me, I mean, that LSU FSU game. That was my one where I was like, it's 2 juggernauts going at it. Like, can't wait to see what happens. And then there was one juggernaut, all right. And then LSU just didn't show up.
Yeah.
So LSU made far too many mistakes. FSU looked legit on both sides of the ball. I mean, multiple 4th and short stops. Capitalized on mistakes. Jordan Travis had one bad throw, led to his interception. That was an ugly one. But otherwise, I thought he played very well. Keon Coleman. I am personally sorry, Kat, that I'm saying this. I'm so glad he's not in the green and white anymore. He can go be in Tallahassee there, catching passes from Jordan Travis. I don't have to see him. Just he's a monster. He is so good. He was the one where last year when we played the Spartans, it was like, okay, this is literally the only guy I'm worried about on the offensive side of the ball. Shut him down. We're good. Yeah. And yeah, he's a game breaker, man. He's insane. And Yeah, they look like a top 5 team. They look like a playoff caliber team.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Eric said, I'm not sad to see BK do what BK does in big games. Love for what he did at ND, but I saw that happen a bunch of times in the last 10 years. Yeah, Brian Kelly, it was a tale of 2 halves. There was no adjustments whatsoever. And it's funny because last year, the first half, they came out that poorly. And then the second half, they come storming back, and you're like, oh. And then I remember at this time, at halftime, I think it was like a 7-point game, like 24-17 or something like that.
At halftime this year, it was 17-14 LSU. Yeah. And then LSU did not score a touchdown until the last, 3 minutes of the game?
Ugly.
FSU scored like 30 consecutive points.
Yeah.
Just disgusting. It was, phenomenal performance by FSU. LSU, you got to go back to the drawing board and figure that out quick.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And look, so, I mean, you got those. I mean, obviously, I looked at you guys, wanted to see J.J. McCarthy, wanted to see Corum, wanted to see not having the coach and OC. I wanted to see if that was going to take effect. Obviously, it did not. You guys still looked amazing. USC and Notre Dame, both of them rolled again. USC, I think they dropped was Nevada or something like that. And
USC and Nevada,
yeah. So definitely loved that one. Texas beating Rice. I didn't know that JT Daniels was starting over at Rice.
His 5th team in 4 years, 5 years, something like that.
Can we discuss that? Because Tez Walker, they didn't let him do his. They said he couldn't play this year. They denied.
Transferred 2 times in 2 years, even though he didn't get to play at the first school.
Right, because of COVID. But JT Daniels gets to keep moving.
I was leaving that one alone on purpose. Well, because him and Keaton Slovis too.
Yeah,
who's now at BYU. Was that Pitt? Then the year before, did he go SC to Pitt?
Yeah,
I think he did. So 3 teams in 3 years.
Right, and that's okay though. See, I would have been a lot more bitter had we lost. But still, it's just like, are y'all kidding me right now? Like, he has a valid reason. These are why the waivers are put into place. These are why there are these special, cases and situations like that. And then with the COVID year, we have to let the guy get in. It's ridiculous.
Well, and the part that bothers me is when both schools that he transferred from, essentially signed a waiver being like, please let him go to North Carolina.
Right.
And the NCAA looked at it all and just went, nope, we're like, too bad.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It is. And shout out to Mac Brown, our coach. He came out there and he said he's highly disappointed with the NCAA and the way that they handled that situation.
I thought he had a great response.
Yeah. And I loved it. And normally, you don't necessarily want to see your coaches bucking the system or things like that, but he's been around. He's seen this stuff happen time and time again, and I'm glad he spoke up. I'm glad he did, man. So, hey, free Tez, man, because that's baloney, man. That's absolutely. Couple other ones out there. Kentucky putting up 44 against Ball State. Cincinnati puts up 66 on Eastern Carolina. No Fickle, no problem. I mean,
I bet you Florida wishes they still had Emory Jones, former Florida quarterback.
Exactly. Come on now.
He looked damn good.
Yes.
For the Bearcats this weekend.
Man, and watch out. Oh, actually, matter of fact, since he plays Pitt this coming weekend, so we'll definitely.
It's gonna be a good game.
Exactly. Look into that one. One other game I wanted to mention. Shout out to Alec, who is in the comments. He told us about this team. Cal, ladies and gentlemen, put up 58 on North Texas. I'm sorry. I know North Texas is bad, but Cal I thought was rough. And to see them put that up, man, come on now. Alex said, so who's doing the show tomorrow? I will not be able to watch college football again tomorrow, Alec. That is why we decided to come on quickly tonight. How about them Cowboys? Oh, yeah, you were right. You told us. You let us know. You let us know.
And that quarterback did do very well for him.
Yeah.
So,
hey, let's see what they can keep. Hey, this Pac-12 is shaping up to be okay. Or
the only undefeated conference so far.
There you go. Everybody's number 1.
13-0.
Let's go. Let's go. Now, we do want to talk about a couple of these upsets that happened. Baylor in the first game loses to Texas State 42-31. Not a way to start your season.
You want to talk about a coach that could be on the hot seat? Dave Aranda, if things start going awry here, that loss might be a nail in the coffin for him.
Because you look around the Big 12, you got OU putting up all these points. You got Texas putting up all these points. Kansas State, they blanked their opponent, I think 45-0. So nobody, TCU put up 42. So if you can't beat Texas State and can't put up more than just 31 on, it's going to be a long year for you.
Not a good look.
No.
In the slightest.
No.
Especially for a team that for so many years has been very good defensively.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's not a good look.
Not a good way to start your season. Another team, one that Alec was talking about, I believe, who Oregon plays next, lost in double overtime to Wyoming. Again, not a good way to start your year, And look, let's not sleep on some of these lesser schools. Yes, they're getting guys from the transfer portal. They're starting to play above their weight class. But Texas Tech, this was supposed to be your cupcake, man. You're supposed to get this thing done. Shout out to Wyoming for playing big, but not good. Not good to start off.
Yeah, that's a rough one. I mean, like you said, props to Wyoming for showing up and playing, and that's why we play the games every Saturday, because stuff like this happens. I mean, stuff like Ben mentioned up top that I don't want to really talk about, but App State, Michigan in 07, it's why you play the games.
But let me ask that, because I did see that one when he said that. Are we as good now as you guys were perceived to be that year?
No.
Weren't you? You were top 5, right?
Yeah. I think we were 2 at that time.
Yeah.
Because we had the year before, I think it was the end of the season, it was either 1-2 or 2-3 in 06 with the national championship on the line.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the year Troy Smith won the Heisman.
Yeah.
And I watched a whole clip on it recently, but we had them stopped, and then Troy Smith was just kind of running it out of bounds. They were going to punt it. Sean Crable hit Troy Smith as he was going out of bounds, kind of one of those right as he's going out of bounds, so the kind of iffy calls. And they threw the flag because it's the quarterback. Ohio State kept the drive alive and finished the game. But even the Ohio, Troy Smith and some of those James Laurinaitis, some of those Ohio State guys that they were talking to were we felt like if Michigan got the ball back, they were taking that game. So, I mean, so they were top then, and then they brought pretty much everyone back, like Henny, Mike Hart. Braylon Edwards was already gone by that point. But you had Mario Manningham, Adrian Arrington, Jake Long was the left tackle.
Yeah.
Like I said, Sean Crable was one of those main guys. That was a special team with Carr still coaching.
Yep.
I think that was the last year he coached. It was 07. 07 or 08.
Yeah. And I remember that day, and I'm not trying to get you to relive this, but I remember it because I was working. I was actually working at the time with Eric. We were both working at the YMCA. I think I had gone out that Friday night, and I was so pumped to wake up and watch college football, and then I overslept. And so I got a text at, I think it was 3:00, right around the time of the kick. And Eric was the one who hit me up. He was like, yo, Michigan's about to lose. And I was like, what? And then it was right as the kick was being blocked and the whole thing. And he's like, oh, Michigan just lost. And I was like, what? And I'm still just like, what?
Yeah.
Are you serious? And the whole day, that's all I was watching. Just those are we serious?
Yeah, I'm shocked I remember it because I was 8.
Yeah.
But that was a tough one.
Yeah. Who was that was that Armani Rogers? He was
for App State?
Yeah, who was their quarterback?
I think so.
Monty, I don't know. Maybe it was Edwards, Monty Edwards or something. Not sure.
Edwards that sounds right. I'm gonna go look it up though.
And then Eric said, then Dennis Dixon the next week. Oh, you guys played Oregon the next week? Oof.
Yeah, not great. Mm-mm. They whooped us pretty good, if I remember correctly.
Mm-mm. All right, let's get you out of this area. We're not gonna do that. So look, one more thing we did want to do to recap a storyline that we had talked about last week. Last week, Miami of Ohio played the University of Miami, Coral Gables, and they came out saying, "Hey, the real Miami, it's in Oxford."
Oh yeah. No, it is not.
No, they scored 3 points. They got stomped 38-3. It was not even pretty. I haven't heard anything from the Miami of Ohio quarterback since then.
Nope, he's been quiet.
Yeah, he's been pretty quiet.
Also,
that's what happened.
One more upset that we forgot. Fresno State scoring in the last minute to beat Purdue.
Woo!
39-35. Really? They scored a touchdown with 59 seconds left to take that win, 39-35. I mean, Hudson Card had a pretty good game, like 2 touchdowns, no picks. But Fresno stole it late. Can't remember his first name, but Keene for Fresno State had 4 touchdowns and a pick, I think.
Oh wow!
But he had a pretty good game. So yeah, that was one where I had a parlay, and I took Michigan by 36 points, which they screwed me and only got the 30. And they had scored the touchdown to get 36, but then it got called back that it was short, and I was just like, okay. And then of course they went chew clock the rest of the game.
Of course.
And then I had Purdue beating Fresno State, which was out the window. Yeah. I had Ohio State covering the 30.5 point spread out the window. It was just like all of it just shot.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason why I stopped sports betting. I stopped college football betting because I used to do that every year and just be like, oh, why?
I pick a couple weeks a year and I just do $1, and then it's just like a home run parlay, like just. If this happens, this happens, this happens. I'm making like a third of what I make in a year off this one bet. Like,
oh man, yes, we need to. But look, hey, that was week 1. So after week 1, we're gonna give out our game balls. Talk about the guys that we thought had the most stellar performances in week 1. I'll start first, and I got to go to the game we talked about first. Colorado, TCU. They had a number of great guys. I know you're going to cover one of them. I got to cover that running back. Dylan Edwards, guy, the mouse, small, tiny, but played huge. I know you used to collect football cards, right?
I still do, yeah.
You still okay? Same here. I don't know why I asked you used to, but there was a card their football card. I think it was Fleer or Topps. They used to have it where it was little big men, where the little guys that play big. Obviously, Barry Sanders used to be always on that card. This is that type of dude. Now, he only ran for, I believe, 24 yards, having a touchdown on the ground. But this man caught 5 passes, 135 yards, and 3 total touchdowns, and had an 18-yard kick return later on in the game. We know Sanders, Shador, and Shiloh. We know Travis Hunter, Deion, obviously, there's a lot of credit. I love that we're seeing somebody that we didn't know about coming into this game. And he didn't dominate on the ground, but he got his opportunity and he tore it up, getting those 4 TDs. And it's funny because one of the things that Deion said in the press conference after, I mean, among other things that he said, but he was like, this kid, I've known this kid since he was like 4 years old, 4 to 6. He played on the little Pee Wee League team. You know, a lot of people forget Deion coached Little League, Pop Warner, all the way up. So he knows.
Shador's only had Deion as a head coach.
Right.
From start to finish here, yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing I think a lot of us that look into, especially a lot of those pundits that really dig into it, didn't look at. They overlooked that fact that he brought all those guys in. And I mean, if you got guys that are dedicated to you and they will, go through a wall for you, that type of thing, they'll win anything. There's no limit to what you can do. So shout out to Dylan Edwards, man. I think he balled out, man. Who is your first one?
See, I was going back and forth. I'm not sticking to the quarterback, though. I was going to do Shador. I talked about him earlier, gave him his flowers, all the NFL throws and everything. I am sticking to that game, though. I'm going to go Travis Hunter. He deserves it. Just what he did on both sides of the ball, locking down a receiver. And like you said, it was defensively looked like Revis Island. Like just locking a guy down. And like you said, you guys take on those 10. I got my guy here. And just locked him down. Like you said, you look at the box score, you don't see that guy really on there.
No.
And, I mean, it's not like he wasn't getting tested. I mean, he had the pick, had almost another pick, couple knockdowns. Like, he had a very good game and got tested. And the, 154 snaps, whatever it is, just so freaking impressive. One of the elite players this past weekend, and I got to give him my game ball here.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. My number 2 game ball this week, we talked about this guy before, but anytime you get 5 touchdowns in a game and when you might be your team's main and only weapon, I got to show you love. So shout out to Jalen Miller of Alabama. Obviously, they weren't really tested. And I spoke about this earlier, that this was more of a talent win. They're just that much better. But Milroe took a lot of heat coming off of, you got Bryce coming off, who's the Heisman Trophy winner. We've seen the success he had. Milroe, it's still left to be seen how he can pass. I mean, he had under 200 yards in the air, albeit still 13 of 18 or something like that. So it wasn't bad, but still you want to see him be able to carry the team with his arm, be able to drive down the field. It's a short, intermediate, and long balls, read defenses, those type of things. But anytime you score 5 TDs in a game, and especially when you score 2 on the ground, I'm going to show you some love. So my game ball goes to Jalen Milroe. Hopefully he can keep this up going throughout the season. And who is your last one?
And again, I told you who my 2 were before. I'm switching them both up. So you talking about Dylan Edwards there made me think of a guy in my game last Saturday. And there was a guy we were kind of wondering, now that now that Bell's in the NFL with San Francisco, it was going to be who's that number 1 receiver? Who's taking over? Ronnie Bell, not Blake Bell. I was thinking of last night's game with Blake Bell. Now that Ronnie Bell's in San Francisco, it was who's going to be the main guy. It was pretty clearly Roman Wilson on Saturday. Caught all 3 of JJ's passing touchdowns. On only 6 of his 6 catches, I believe on only the 6, maybe 7 targets for 78 yards. He was JJ's go-to guy. And I mean, we didn't throw the ball too much, but it seemed like every time we were going, Roman was the main guy we were looking for. So, I'm going to go him for the 3 touchdown performance.
Oh, yeah.
I almost want to go Colston Loveland for everything off the box score. I mean, he had 4 catches, 57 yards, but he was doing so well in the blocking as well. He just about got it for me.
Right, which is key. Especially in your offense where you're running the ball a lot. You could have wide receivers that block. Yeah, that's paramount. Yeah, absolutely. So those are our week 1 game balls, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned next week for our week 2 game balls. And speaking of week 2, we got to talk about it. The games are coming up. There have been some games that played. Louisville played last night against Murray State. Won, I believe, 56-0. I believe Indiana is playing right now.
Indiana's up 31-7 on Indiana State.
Okay.
So they're looking much better. And there's one more game going on right now, Illinois and Kansas. And Kansas is also winning 31-7. That game ain't close.
No.
So I thought it would be closer too. I mean, we talked. They've got 2 of the best interior defensive linemen, that being Illinois, in the country. And they've just been so good the last couple of years. And I mean, we've seen NFL players come off that defense left, right, and center.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, we also saw what Kansas did last year. It ain't a fluke. Jalen Daniels is legit. They got playmakers now, and they're showing it tonight. That's for sure. I want to check Jalen Daniels' stats here. 14 to 21, 189 yards, 2 touchdowns early in the third quarter.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not
Decent.
bad. Yeah, I'm definitely looking for them to keep this up. Obviously, last year we saw, what did they start off? I think it was 3-0 or 4-0. I think
They got
beat
7-0, I think.
Yeah.
Because it was them yeah, and that was in the TCU game.
That's right.
They were both 7-0, and it went to game day in Kansas because we were losing our minds that Kansas got college game day for football.
Right.
And that them and TCU were both undefeated, 7-0. And it was going toe-to-toe. Jalen Daniels got hurt. And like I said earlier in the show, TCU had Superman wearing number 15 or 16, whatever it was for him. And it was enough for them to steal the win.
Wow. That totally derailed their season. Kansas couldn't get it. They couldn't get it back together after that. So, hey, hopefully they could do it.
He came back, Daniels, that is, for that bowl game against Arkansas.
Yeah.
That one was so much fun. I don't know if you remember that one.
No,
I think we were we on? I was on some show at that time. I think it was with you. I think we were doing the college show. Because it was just like, oh my God, Kansas scored. Oh my God, Arkansas scored. Kansas scored. Arkansas scored. Like, it was just so back and forth late in that fourth quarter. And it was, Alec was saying we were on stream for that game.
Yeah, was it NFL edition?
I don't know.
Because I remember messaging. I think I was in the comments. Because I remember messaging back and forth.
No, I think you were in
was
there.
I on?
I think it was. I mean, it was during bowl season, so I think it was. I think we were previewing your guys' game.
Could be. That's right.
Because I think that's what it was. And then Johnny and all them were in the comments. Ben, I'm pretty sure that was the day that we were previewing your guys' game.
That's when I said the fateful quack quack.
Yeah. Yes.
Never again, Alec. Never again. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. So, So week two. Obviously, we got a number of games. We got my game that I'm kind of excited to see because I want to see Drake another week, but at the same time, and Will tell you this. I was next to Will when we were up 31-14, and I was next to him, and it was in the fourth, and he's like, "Oh, you're not happy? You're not excited?" I was like, I watched that App State game. I remember in the fourth, I'm like, "Oh yeah, we got this, and then they scored 40 flipping points. Now, we saw how good that defense looked in game one against an SEC team. We'll say that because I don't know how much O-line they had. But this is going to be a game where our defense is going to need to show up. So that's obviously the game I'm looking at. Another one, Vandy and Wake Forest. 2-0 Vanderbilt, man. Can they keep this thing going? We got them going as much as 6 or 7-0 this year. They have to get this W this week. And then I believe they have Kentucky coming up after this. Kentucky, Missouri. Yeah. So they're going to have to get this W. Down the list, obviously Colorado. Ole Miss, Tulane.
Yep.
That's a game, man, Alex. I'm really wanting to tune into that one. Ole Miss put up 70+ last week. Tulane, we saw what they did against USC last year. This one looks like it's going to be a barn burner, man.
Yeah. I mean, and if you look at the spread, they're only giving Ole Miss a touchdown on the spread. So they think it's going to be close. It's in Tulane. Tulane's hosting that game.
Yeah. That's good.
I don't want to call the upset on that, but
I'm about to say, you calling it?
I can't call that one, but I'll put them on upset watch.
Yeah.
I'll do that. I'm not calling the upset for this game. I don't know if I have one that I'm willing to legit call upset this week. I got to take a look at the rest of the games here.
I'll give you Texas.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say I'll take Texas. Although I don't really think of that as an upset because I think of Texas as the better team. But based on the rankings, it's an upset. Looking at some other ones here.
I'm trying to think.
San Diego State hosting UCLA.
They
got UCLA by basically 2 touchdowns.
Really?
13.5 is the spread for UCLA.
Oh,
I'm taking San Diego State to cover that spread.
I'm about to say, yeah. Look, I and shout out to UCLA. I know I talked about Carson Steele before the year. I think he had 70 yards on the ground. So it was good. But I mean, I'm trying to think who they played in that first game. It was like
San Jose State.
Who was it?
I think they played San Jose State last week.
That's who they played, yeah. Because they were able to get the dub. Was it Idaho State?
I'm trying to find it here because I saw on ESPN it's showing week 1 and week 0 in the same, so it immediately showed San Jose State and USC.
Yeah.
Let's see here. UCLA, where are you? Played Coastal Carolina.
Oh, right. And with Grayson McCall still there. And they got, but so I said that to say Dante Moore got his start. And we were able to see him. He was able to, obviously they got the W and, they won by a couple scores, but still I want to see him against stiffer competition.
Yep.
We know what that San Diego State defense is. They shut down Ohio, obviously, after Warwick got hurt. They were able to get a dub last week. So this is a big game. This is a big one because UCLA is one of those that's definitely on the rise, and they can't afford to lose pace, especially now with the teams like Colorado are getting up. You know what I mean? So this is going to be a big one for me. I like this one.
Yeah. I think the one other game I'm looking at is two teams we've already talked about earlier. Utah going to Baylor.
Yeah.
My big thing is I haven't heard anything yet on if Cam Rising is playing. I know they were looking at him coming back this week. I'm going to look it up and see if I can find anything.
Yeah.
But if not, Utah going across to Baylor. I know they looked good last week, but that's a tall task.
Mm-hmm. And I think you have to ask, when you look at Baylor, are they going to have that chip on their shoulder? They get embarrassed in week 1. Are they going to have that chip on their shoulder, ready to come out and play? And then Utah, can they get it done without Cam Rising? And, how good were they? Because we all know that Florida is struggling, and Utah only put up, I think, 24 on it. With a good defense, you don't really have to when you didn't have your starters. So I think a lot of that plays on like what you said. If Cam Rising plays, that could help them because they're going, it's at Baylor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're going into a hostile environment to a team. What are they saying?
So not only is Cam Rising not playing, Keith, or however you say the tight end's name, he's out as well.
What?
Yeah. But then also Baylor's starting quarterback is out. He sprained his MCL? Yeah, sprained his MCL last week. He's out 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh.
So this makes it even more interesting because there's so many backups playing.
Oh, yeah.
You don't really know what you're gonna get.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. All right. Let's keep an eye on that. Hey, one more that we did just because I want to appease Alec, and he's been talking about this daggone team. Cal plays Auburn. Cal put up 58 last week.
I like that game.
Auburn put up 59 last week. I hope to see a high-scoring affair. I think we're going to get a 13-10 battle, but I hope to see something a lot better than that. And hey, I want to see this quarterback.
Alec is calling it.
Cal winning the game. Wow. The newest member of the ACC. They're taking down an SEC school.
Outright, not even spread. They're just outright going to win that game. I like it, man.
Boom. I could dig it. I'm definitely going to watch that one. Man, we might need to do a little recap if they get that done tomorrow or something, man. That looks good.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a fun one. That's a late night game. That's 8:30 kickoff. 8:30 my time.
Yeah, right.
10:30 your time kickoff. Good Lord.
Pac-12 after dark, baby. Love it.
Yeah, because Cal's hosting them. Auburn's got to come across the country. 10:30 kickoff their time. I think I like Cal too. Just situationally.
It's looking better for Cal all the while. I got to see what they look like. You put up 58 on anybody, I want to see what you look like. And so you guys have been talking about this quarterback, man. So was it Sam Jackson the fifth?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see what he's doing.
Lines. Although he didn't start last week.
Oh.
Or at least their leading passer is Ben Finley.
Alec, who's Ben Finley?
Sophomore quarterback.
He said Cal's underdog at home. Yeah, I bet. Man, give me Cal outright. Okay.
Also, Oklahoma State travels to Arizona State for the same time kickoff.
Late.
So, I thought going into the season that former Michigan quarterback Alan Bowman was going to be the starter for Oklahoma State. That's not the case either. They got another guy starting there.
Jeez.
But Jaden Rashada, the Florida commit that had all that money issue and all that, decommitted. Arizona State was the one that paid him, and he looked pretty good last week. They only won by 3 against Southern Utah, but so the team in general was not impressive. But 18-31, 236 yards, 2 touchdowns. Didn't run much, only 3 carries for a couple yards, but I mean, he's a real talented quarterback. So if they get, interestingly enough, Arizona State's done a pretty good job recruiting quarterbacks. They just haven't done a good job keeping them.
Yeah.
Because if you remember back to a few years ago, I think it was 2019, true freshman quarterback Jaden Daniels was the starter there, lighting it up.
Oh, yeah.
And then transferred after a couple years to LSU.
Who did they had N'Keal Harry was there a couple years back.
N'Keal Harry was there, yeah. Yeah, Eno Benjamin.
They had talent, man. They have had talent. Kind of fell off as of recently. Last comment was by Eric, so I do want to talk about his game. I talk about you think it's going to be a blowout. Notre Dame playing NC State. I never can sleep on NC State, man. They've embarrassed us before. So I'm thinking this might be a little bit of tougher matchup that it pulls away in the fourth. But I do think this is going to be one of the that's going to be an early test. For
me, I expect that game to be a lot like when we play Rutgers.
Yeah,
it's going to be like on that upset watch for 2 quarters, maybe partway into the second half. But 5 minutes in the second half, it's lights out. It's just game over. And I think the Notre Dame team from the last few years, I might be calling upset here for NC State.
Ooh.
But Sam Hartman leading the show here, that offense just looks different.
Absolutely.
And him and Audric Estime, I don't see them having this be close for too long.
Right. Once they get out and going, I think they got it. So, yeah, that Scoreboard Week 2 preview, man, we just kind of show some of these games. Hit as many as you can and pace yourself, ladies and gentlemen. As my guy Alex said, that there's a couple good games that will not start till after a lot of our bedtimes. All right. So,
yeah. Well, it's nice that most of the games we talked about, they were like paced throughout the day, So you get like a couple at the noon kickoff, couple in that kind of 3:30 range, and then a couple of these night games. And then, obviously a couple like midnight games essentially, but,
right.
Yeah, there's something for everybody throughout the entire course of the day this week.
Love it. Hey, we are back. College football is back. It's in full swing.
So good.
In 2-3 weeks, October, then we start getting that action during the middle of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Oh yeah. That was insane last year, and I can't wait for it to start this year.
Yes. All about it. But look, we're coming close to the end, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot leave you without Scott Thaler, his favorite segment. I don't know where he is today, but he's living high off that Missouri. I think they're undefeated right now. I think they're 1-0. So he's saying, "Hey,
let's see, Truman."
Right.
Maybe it's like Beetlejuice. Maybe he just shows up now.
Right. Truman.
Yeah.
Yo, but we are going to go on to one of our favorite segments that is is right here. Buddy, Alex, take it away.
Yeah, so we only got the one matchup to talk about this week. We came to the end of the second bracket. Once again, just like the first bracket, I want to say thank you to everybody that voted on this, interacted with this. It was so much fun. I love seeing all the comments and kind of seeing who's got the different voting strategies. I mean, obviously Scott waits to see who we vote for, and then if we're on the same side, picks the opposite.
Right. I tried to hold it out this time.
I literally didn't vote until I saw, until I was getting the results here. Then I put my vote in. It didn't make a difference. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to see. Some people lean towards certain types of mascots. Like some like the cat mascots, some like the dog mascots, or the just animal mascots in general. Some like the kind of like the Knights, the Trojans, all those. So everyone's kind of got their style, and it's cool to kind of try and keep track of the patterns people got. So, as we said before, I'll put another matchup out after the show here, and then we'll probably, I was thinking leave it for 2 weeks. Do it for the week 4 show. But the winner of this will go up against the winner of the first bracket, Harry and Uga, and we'll do kind of like a winner take all here. So this matchup, I'll quit dragging this on here. Trojan and Traveler of USC going up against Petey the Pirate of East Carolina. With a total of 13 votes. Petey put up a pretty good fight. Before I put my vote in, I said it didn't make a difference. It was 1 away from being a tiebreaker, so it was close. But with a score of 8-5, Trojan and Traveler take the win. They are moving on. I mean, that was to be expected. When I was making this bracket, I was like, how did I forget them in the first bracket? Because I started putting all the heavyweights in that bracket, and then I was like, yeah, like, how did I forget? But now that we're getting Trojan and Traveler against Harry and Uga, I kind of like it that way.
Oh, yeah. It's better this way. We're good.
Yeah. And two of the, like, juggernaut mascots here. We'll see who comes out on top.
Yeah, I like that. And look, if Petey the Pirate, if the game you guys played against him this Saturday was any indication, I didn't look good. All right.
No. So they were closer in this than they were in that game. So
right. I was about to say, I'm glad they put up a fight at least in this one.
Yeah.
But I echo your sentiments, man. Hey, we appreciate you guys taking a minute, voting on these, constantly staying engaged and going back and forth with us, because like you said, the people had different strategies, but this also connects people that might not be as into the X's and O's, as into the stats, as into the teams and all that type of stuff. They might just like mascots and really get into that. So this is for you guys, and we appreciate you guys definitely getting involved in doing that.
Yeah.
Well, look, Alex, hey, that's it. We're here. Actually, you know what? Real quick, we got a minute, and I'm actually queued up the video, so I'm good this time. Did I cue the video? No, I did not cue the video. I'm not good. No, I'm good. Yes, I'm gutsy. I'm not as gutsy as Dan Campbell, who in his own 20-yard line on the second drive on 4th down goes for a fake punt. Wow.
Yeah, that was ballsy. Yeah.
Throw those opponents on the table, man.
Yeah.
Good gracious.
Man.
Wow.
Oh, here we go. You're
right. No, you are Beetlejuice. You're Truman Juice, man. Say it 3 times, you'll show up. So, and you know, if we be honest and we ask the Lions coach what he's doing,
you know he's going for 2.
No question about it. Yeah, buddy. Going for 2. Alex, what is your going for 2 today?
for me, I mean, we talked so much about how there's kind of something for everyone this weekend. I know, obviously, we just had game 1 for the NFL. The NFL's back. So my one thing is, while there's an endless amount of football to watch, don't burn yourself out with it. Yes. And don't get so into it where it starts to become frustrating or you get angry about it. At the end of the day, it is a game. It's something that's to be enjoyed. I mean, I was stressed out last night, game 1. So I got to take my own advice here, but just remember to enjoy the games that you're watching.
Yeah. I'll piggyback on that because you need to just at the end of the day, just remember these are humans playing a game, doing the best job they possibly can. And albeit
18 to 22-year-olds,
yes.
unless you're Stetson Bennett and you're 40, but
or Sean Clifford.
Or Sean Clifford or Hunter Renfrow, I swear, is still playing college ball somewhere.
Hey, a pension from there, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Look. So maybe they didn't win. He said that's easy for Alex because his team won.
Because his second team's the Chiefs. So that's where he's going off with that.
Maybe Scott, you need to start rooting for teams, man. The Rams, the Chiefs, Missouri, they got W's, but come on, buddy.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, go. My thing is this, exactly what he was saying. Don't burn yourself out. Go take time and enjoy a game. I know you've been talking about going. This was one of the first games I had been to in a very long time. First and foremost, getting to see one of my best friends was amazing, but then also being at the actual place, and it was a neutral site game, so it was at Carolina Panthers Stadium. Amazing. The atmosphere was great. It was electric. The lights were flicking, everything going. The only issue is my dear buddy Will thinks he's funny and wants to put me on the South Carolina side, and I'm in here with my all blue. I mean, just straight up sky blue, and it's just red all over. And I'm walking up, and everybody's just looking at me, and I'm just like,
love it. Love it. Oh, I'm that person. I will go into enemy territory. I'm just like, let's go.
Absolutely. But one thing I will say is, like you say, don't take this stuff so seriously. These are 18 to 22-year-olds going out here playing what they love. They do not need to hear you from row 500 and whatever yell down to them, you suck.
They can't hear you. They can't hear you from row 10.
Thank you.
There's no sense in gesturing and jeering and all that. Just sit back and enjoy.
Thank you. Just relax. And I'm going to tell you, one of the hardest things is to have a show like this and to hear some of these people and the things that they say, where it's like 4th and 20, run for it. What did they say to Spencer Rattler? Just run it. Why aren't you running it? And it's like, dude, it's 4th and 20. He's not getting 20 yards. Or 4th and goal from the 15.
You want him to run a mile to get the first down and not get hit?
It's like, are you serious? Now, I knew where I was, so I didn't turn around. Will turned around and was like, then I was like, Will, come on, brother. They gonna come after me, man. Just chill out. So, but like I said, man, just enjoy the daggone game, man. You don't need to get all hot and bothered, man. I was walking out of the stadium. There's a South Carolina guy, and I'm minding my business, and he's like, you got lucky. And for a second, I was like, well, actually, let me break this down for you because I've been waiting. But I was like, you know what? He's not looking for that. He's looking for, I got my boys. I want to pick on a North Carolina guys. So I just kept it moving. And Will was like, good for you because there's 2 of us and there's 5 of them. So it's like, So we're good. Live to see another day. And this one, yes, Scott.
You better believe they won.
Come on, Scott. Come on, buddy. Well, look, there it is. I know this went a little bit longer, but we wanted to get to a lot of this stuff for you guys and get you guys ready for tomorrow for all of the college football that is coming. Hey, where else would you rather be?
Oh, man.
Hey, so for my guy, Mr. Alex Loosemore, you know who it is. It's your boy, Sean Spencer. We appreciate you guys watching and jumping in the comments and constantly talking to us. And, hey, go Mizzou. That's for you, buddy. I'll end the show that way. Go Mizzou. Let's go. All right, people. I got the video on this one. We are out. See y'all next time, people. Actually, nope. I saw two fingers.
Yeah.
They're going blurred out thing. All right, guys. Peace.
College football update with your host,